What we generally do is we pick up the phone. Oh, I am from ABC company. We are manufacturers of auto parts. I saw that you are importing, and are you interested to import from us? That is like nothing. Nothing is going to happen from that.
See, you mentioned that there's some kind of a mismatch between the way we are going and pitching and the way they are looking at a service provider or a product, someone who can supply products to them. So, have you seen some major cultural differences between the way Americans, USA folks are looking at things and the way we are going and pitching?
Yes, certainly. Because you see, in India, what happens, high trust level. Because, uh, just for example, I'm a Jain, right? You are also a Jain. So, if I make a call to you and if I say that I'm a Jain, I mean, straight away the trust is established because our cultural system is such that people will say a Jain will rarely cheat.
Correct.
So so that is not there. Okay, so we that is why I have seen very interesting thing you asked, Nikhil, and I am able to correlate. Most of the Indian companies try to work with Indians living in US because they are able to match the cultural aspect.
Right.
And to the Indian living in US, they say I am a Jain.
Right.
Right. But the Indian population in US is 40 or 50 lakh, or out of which most of them are working in companies, a lot of them in IT companies and others in other companies. So they are not your target. Your target is the 32 crore population of US minus 40, 50 lakh. Right. So that is where we are not able to succeed. Now I'll give you some examples of cultural difference. So there is a difference between marketing and sales. So we are trying to do sales straight away without doing any marketing. So as I told you, the 20 steps of preparation are the marketing steps. So once you have that in place, it is going to lead to sales, but that we are not doing. Secondly, in US, when you are making first few calls, they do not appreciate receiving a call on their mobile phone. It's a cultural thing. In India, of course, you can everywhere mobile phone you can make a call, right? And also WhatsApp is not very common in US in terms of first few communications. Later on you can, but not in first few. But we try to do that, and I'll tell you the reason for that. And then the cold calling is not a good thing to do in US. Cold calling, 90% of the phones will not be picked. And even if it is picked, it will go to a reception. Receptionist will ask what is it. You tell, it won't go forward. So you have to route it through some other steps. Like for example, first get into a LinkedIn connection, send some messages through LinkedIn, then try to ask them if I can call on what number. There are direct numbers which goes to them. So that is the time cultural thing. Then another important thing I have seen is the time of calling. So if you take India, our night is the daytime, right? But our early night is their early morning. And no, there is a cultural thing. Everybody, even in India, you and me also, when we come to office in morning, we want to finish off our pending things.
Correct.
So we do not want to be disturbed with a sales call, right? That too cold one. So never call in the first half. Never call in the first half of the day. Post lunch. But post lunch in US is almost midnight. I mean, early morning of India. So that is a challenge because not many people are wanting to do that as professionals, right? So the time of call is also critical. Post lunch, people are ready to. They are a little bit relaxed. They had lunch. They have finished most of their work, and they are ready to look at new things. So these are some of the cultural aspects which we have to keep in mind. And
this is you're saying
those
from
who
a
are
business.
able
You're saying from a business perspective. Anything you'd like to add from a communication perspective?
communication also, like so like I always tell people, do not start telling on the phone, for example, if you have been able to connect to people, do not start telling about your product or your company. Start by getting into a conversation. For example, if some company is wanting to sell auto parts to an American company, the conversation could start from things like, hey, do you know what is the total market size of after sales auto parts in US? Most probably that person may not be knowing, right? So the person will say no. Okay, would you like to know? Nobody will say no. Say yes, tell me. And then you should have done your research. You should have done your research. That's what I'm saying. Preparation. That is a part of preparation. You should know what is the total market size of after sales service market for auto parts and tell them it is $600 billion. They'll say, oh, is it? What is your source of information? They'll be very keen to know whether it is correct. So keep your source of information ready. Say, this is the source of information. Then they will get interested. Why? In the first episode, I said that knowledge is business today. It doesn't matter you are a manufacturer, trader, or service provider. Now you are proving to them that I am a manufacturer of auto parts, but I have a lot of knowledge also. That too about the American market. So they will think this is the person I want to talk to, because not many people talk like this. Then you can even ask, okay, so do you want to increase your sales 2 times in next 3 years in US? Your sales, you are talking about yours, their sales, not yours. No one will say going to say no. They will say yes, sure. Okay, can I give you 3 tips by which it will happen? Again, they will say yes. They want to know what this guy is going to tell me. I am in US. I am in this career for 20 years. What this guy will tell me, which I don't know. So you should have again done your research in such a way and added your entrepreneurial inputs to it, creative aspects to it, by saying this is how it can be done. This is how you can do. And they will say, hey, this guy, if I buy parts from him or her, I will not only get good product, but also constant market knowledge, which will grow my business. So that is the differentiator you are creating. So that is something in the communication skill which needs to be brought into a conversation. What we generally do is we pick up the phone, oh, I am from ABC company. We are manufacturers of auto parts. I saw that you are importing, and are you interested to import from us? That is like nothing. Nothing is going to happen from that, right? So you have to build a conversation.
Right, makes sense. So essentially what you're saying is, and I guess this goes back to the original point, right, of trying to establish trust. Because over here, maybe if, because you're in India, maybe you have rooted networks or whatever it is, you'll have an inherent trust, but you're going to a new geography. You'll have to build your trust essentially from ground up.
True.